Oh, I was just calling. I just noticed that somebody else has this book.
Oh, have you read a Waspy?
Oh yeah, man, and I got the green cover, so I think I got the one that's original or something like that. Because
I
I
don't
heard
know.
that there's a blue copy too that was supposed to be made over or something like that. But yeah, I found that it very fascinating and very interesting.
Yeah, it is very much so. So you got an older copy. How long have you been reading a Waspy?
Oh, I've been reading that thing for about, if I have to guess, maybe about 20 years or better.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I found it very interesting because it has a lot of interesting things, and the illustrations in it, I have also compared to some things that have been found by NASA, if we go that way, and
Yeah.
that a lot of them are true, but like a lot of people don't understand is that these were drawn back in the late 1800s.
Yeah, I know. Is that crazy?
Yeah, so I would have to believe that I believe it wasn't the guy. I don't have my copy out right now. I think he was a dentist, wasn't he? And he
Yeah.
was, yeah, and he didn't know how to type, but he was instructed by what he called an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I personally feel that it was an extraterrestrial myself.
I mean, what's the difference?
Nothing at all. Depending, you know what they say, arose by any other name. So anyway, yeah, and I find it very interesting. In fact, I found another copy of what they call the green cover one, and I have given it. I gave that to another friend of mine who um, is knowledgeable in the same areas that I am,
Yeah.
and he found it very fascinating. And we both found a lot of correlations in other old written books
Yeah.
on quite a few of them. Like I said, I don't have my notes. Like I said, I was scrolling and I just came across you again. No, in
Well,
fact,
it's
you
very
found.
rare to meet
Well,
somebody who has read a Waspy. There are
yeah,
very few faithists that I have been able to connect with here on TikTok.
yeah. Well, like I said, I found it very interesting. As far as everything goes in it, because again, if you look at a lot of the things in there, especially the illustrations, they make a lot of sense as far as being constellations. And a few of them, I don't even think that's in our, let's say, our sky canopy, if I can use that term. And
Right.
so they have to be either situated in a different position, and it forms another constellation that we are familiar with, or like I said, it's just totally out. I mean, it's kind of like when I believe when Betty Hill she drew a star map that she saw on the ship, and it took a scientist, well, an astronomer, I think, an astrophysics, I think, and to finally figure out that what she saw was in three dimensional, and she got it, and it turned out to be the Zeta Reticular system in the southern hemisphere,
Really?
which is not relatively visible uh, up here in the northern hemisphere of the planet.
Huh.
So
Betty
again,
Hill.
that
I'm not familiar with her. I'll have to look her up. Sounds like.
Betty and Barney Hill, they were allegedly stopped by a UFO back in 19, I believe it was 64.
Huh.
Yeah, and then let me see, Sherry, what's her name? Shelley? Oh no, Shirley. Oh, I can't think of. But anyway, James Earl Jones and Shirley. What's that other actress name?
The
Oh, I
plane?
can't think of her name. Yeah, they did a show called The Interrupted Journey, and it was
Oh.
based on their it was based on their incident that they had. Um, so anyway, yeah, it's like I said, it's just very interesting. The book in itself. I mean, it gives a lot of details on a lot of the connections of the different people that are in there. You know.
Yeah. I've been doing TikToks here about the Book of Oahspe and faithism for a couple of years now. It is really hard to get people to actually pick it up and read it, even though it's a big book, but it's not expensive.
Yes.
But when it comes into your life organically, people really resonate with it. When it's time, people somehow it comes into their life and they read it. And
Mm.
everyone I know who's actually read the book has been blown away. But it's kind of it just has to be the right time, I guess, for people. I've had people really, really interested in reading it, but something has always kept them from actually doing it. I don't know, it's just not their time.
Well, yeah, it does take a lot because again, it you know, especially with people that are go that are into the general religions, you know, and Christian faith and all that other stuff. Me, I'm a spiritualist, and I did study to be a minister at one time, but I had an interesting thing that happened to me that had me into reading. And I was challenged to read the entire King James Version Bible, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of like turned me around because it you know it doesn't fit with a lot of things, and then you can see a lot of political points that are made into it, and it doesn't seem like it should be uh, you know be should be a religious book. I mean, you know, if anything, it's might have some historical facts in it if they've been proven and everything. But as far as other things like the commandments and stuff, in fact, the Ten Commandments can be found in the Book of Dead from Egypt. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all of them. And so again, I was challenged to do that, and that kind of like got me on the trail and well got me into looking into all different things and that book came across in a article that I was reading. I kept an eye out on it. I lived in a bookstore. I mean, literally going to it just about every day. And
Oh
in
man.
fact, I got about 6,000 books in my personal collection anyway.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, and I like a lot of them are you know religiously connected, but it's not that I'm you know trying to find faith or anything. It's just interesting to see the stories that are in there and that coincides with other things that other stories
Yeah.
that's been exaggerated and rewritten to match, like I said, political agendas and a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's really fascinating. Most people don't really read the Bible all the way through.
no.
What my wife and I were reading because we were both Christian, and we decided to read the Bible chronologically, and so we printed
Mhm.
out the reading plan, and we did it. And my wife wanted to go again, and and I don't know what was going on, but she kind of did it on her own the second time, and on her own, I guess she reading it through again chronologically, it really struck her that the God the Israelites worshipped really loved blood. There was
Yes.
so much blood and violence and killing and death on behest of their God. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. This is not the God that I want to worship. This is not the God that I have in my heart. Like, I don't understand. I've read this book many times and all of a sudden it just clicked. This is not correct. This is not
No.
aligned with the values I have.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand that. And funny that you bring that up. I think somebody did a study one time and they came up with a figure saying that if you read the Bible, God has commanded or has had a hand in killing over 3 million people.
I don't know, isn't that crazy? That's
And you know,
insane.
that is. And you know what? Everybody sit up here talking about the devil and Satan in there. Do you know that there is no indication that he actually hurt anyone?
Yeah, no, I've heard those numbers, and it's like everything is flipped upside down and backwards. If
Yeah.
anything, the devil in the Bible is the one trying to wake people up.
Yes. Uh-huh. And it's really kind of weird that it's in that type of order. That's why I started looking at it in a social manner also too, and found out that, well, I discovered that it was all intents and purpose was more political than anything else, and
Oh yeah,
it was just used to, well, actually, it's a controlling mechanism. I mean, like it was saying, I believe it was it Marx or Nietzsche said that religion is an opiate of the people,
yeah.
and which makes a
Well,
lot of sense.
it really is. I mean, it would be nice to have. There are some good benefits to religion.
Yes.
It helps facilitate communities. It helps facilitate, you know, tradition and some really positive things. But it has such a strong control over people, and there's so many ways of hijacking it for evil.
Yes.
it's it's not really worth it. I mean, I like the idea of having like a faithist community where we can, you know, uh, be in agreement and live and work together. All the good stuff.
Hmm.
Um, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But faithism really isn't a religion. It's more like a spiritual philosophy,
Well,
I guess.
they like I said, they changed it to fit their needs. I mean, even the holiday that's coming up. I mean, that they've taken, you know, what I always say, that Christianity is warmed over paganism anyway.
Yeah,
Because
it's true.
yeah, because the one that's coming up now, we're celebrating the birth of someone, but if you read it as far as what happened, uh, it doesn't make any sense, on a lot of certain areas.
Yeah.
Again, for one thing, you think like the new books of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Well, a lot of people don't realize that Mark is older. It's the oldest book, but it was written almost 30, I believe they said around about 36 to 40 years after the alleged crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's a lot of things that change, and the reason why Matthew comes first before Mark, even though Mark is older, is because um, the Constantine, when they were putting together at the what is it, the Nicaea meeting, yeah, back in what 353 or somewhere around there. Excuse me, I don't have all my notes with me. They just put it first because it had more of a poetic type of feeling towards it, more of a poetic like story than actually what Marx is. And then
Yeah. We don't even know who wrote those books.
no, we don't. No, no, because the first thing I always said that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those are Greek names. They're not Hebrew. See, and that's another, and and they just have a different story behind it because, again, if you look in the book of, I believe it's Mark, when wise men or the Messiah, Magi came to Jesus, they said they found the child in the house with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take the Strong's Concordance dictionary and look up that word child, child in that sense means an unsuckling baby.
Right.
Now, yeah, see, so again, that means that they had to be more than 2 years after that because, if you reason why it was around that time anyway, because mothers stopped nursing their children, especially when the teeth start coming in, if you
Yeah.
understand. So he had to be that old because they saw it standing by his mother. So
Hmm.
again, like I said, if people really really studied it and look at the problems with it, there's not hardly any real consistencies that are in there.
No, there really isn't. It's really shocking. I mean, it's growing up, you just sort of believe what you're told to believe, but being out of it for years now, looking at the text, it's really shocking that it has gained so much control over people because it's pretty transparent. It's obvious that it is, a collection of stories, myth, history. It's a collection of a lot of things, not even very well put together. It's not it's not internally coherent or consistent. And the fact that people swear, even have gone lost their lives in pursuit of upholding the book, is really just baffling to me.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And then just like I said, there's so many things even now going on politically, and they are constantly falling back on it, and it doesn't make any sense as far as if you look at it socially, and I'm one of the persons that politicians hate. I'm a sociologist, so
Oh,
I'm going to know where everything is really lies and everything. But if you look at it, it doesn't make any sense for people to call themselves Christians, and I'll have